This video is a list of the best co-op and multiplayer games that you can play for free as part of a Game Pass subscription. These games are perfect for long-distance couples and friends, groups of mates online, and there's even some that you can play on the couch together. If you're new here, I'm Morph, and when I'm not doing playthroughs here on YouTube, I'm finding good games and sharing them with you on Instagram and TikTok, so follow me up there if you want to see even more co-op games. So let's begin, and let me know your favourites in a comment below. In A Way Out, you and your partner are going to escape from prison together. This one can be played online or with local co-op because it's in cinematic split screen, which shifts and changes as the action continues. It is a thrilling story that does not end with you breaking out of prison. It goes beyond that and has an ending that will bond the two of you together forever. And the really nice thing about this game and the next game is that if one of you has it, the other one plays for free, so only one of you actually needs a subscription to play these. Next is It Takes Two, where you play as a couple with a marriage on the rocks. It's made by the same company as the previous game, but it takes what they did with that one and absolutely perfects it. This is one of the best co-op games of all time. You and your partner have been turned into dolls, a spell which has been cast by the tears of your own child.
I wish you could be friends again.
This one has a bunch of different gameplay mechanics and mini-games to enjoy as you work through the story, and it's also quite long. It is a must-play, especially for long-distance couples. Grounded is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids if it was a survival game. You play as kids that are shrunk down and now small and lost in your own garden. You're going to have to build a base, craft, eat, drink, survive, and avoid spiders and wasps and other beasties in the garden as you try to get back to your normal life. It's also for 1 to 4 players, so it's not just for couples. If there's a group of you, this one is a great one to check out.
Everything is out to eat you.
Unravel 2, it has you playing as 2 yarnies, anthropomorphic creatures made of yarn. It is super cute. I love the soundtracks to these games as well. You'll have to work together to swing, pull, and work your way through obstacles and puzzles in this charming tale. Next up, it's time to get your thinking caps on with Escape Academy. It's basically an escape room simulator. If you've ever wanted to do one of those together but you can't from distance or for any other reason, this is one of the games to play. There is a story with this one that's kind of like a Harry Potter Hogwarts for gifted puzzlers and escape artists, but it's basically just going from room to room, solving the puzzles and getting to the end. As escape room simulators go, it's pretty fun. Sea of Thieves is a classic pick and it is still available on Game Pass. It will have you living out your pirate fantasies together, sailing the high seas and plundering booty. You need to steer, manage and repair your ship as you go from island to island, uncovering hidden treasure and avoiding being pirated by other players as you make your way back to turn it in. It's been around for a while, but it is still loads of fun, and if you've got people to play with, it is a great game to jump into. Next up is Deep Rock Galactic, a game which has overwhelmingly positive reviews, but I feel like very rarely makes lists like this. It's for 1 to 4 players, and it's an FPS where you play as dwarves mining deep underground to find loot, fight hordes of alien monsters that you discover along the way, stay alive, get out, get home, and then do it all over again. It's actually great fun. World War Z has just come to Game Pass. It's based on the novel and set in the same universe as the 2013 Brad Pitt film. You and your friends will fight off waves of zombies as you work your way through the maps. Think Left 4 Dead, but much more action and wave-based. And for fans of the slightly scarier variety, there is both Dead by Daylight and Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Game Pass. They are both asymmetrical multiplayer games. You're either playing as the killers or the survivors. Dead by Daylight has a host of very impressive licensed movie monsters among its ranks. Texas Chainsaw is the new kid on the block, and it has just the one license, but it is a 4 versus 3, so the pressure is slightly off the one killer. I actually find Texas Chainsaw to be the more intense and scary of the two, but that could just be because it's the newer one and I've played Dead by Daylight a bunch. If you like this kind of game and you've got Game Pass, check them both out and see which you prefer. Remnant 2 is an action game that can be played co-op. I absolutely loved the first one, but I haven't tried this one yet. It's a game that exists somewhere between being an action-adventure game and a Souls-like. They're not anywhere near as hard or punishing as a Souls game, but it will still have you taking on deadly creatures and getting in epic boss fights with challenging combat together. Rounding out the horror selection is State of Decay 2, which is an open-world zombie apocalypse sim. It can be played in co-op, or you can play it solo if you want. You'll be driving around looting food and goods for your home base and trying to keep your group alive. Think along the lines of the Walking Dead TV show, but with a lot more action. I played through this game solo and I really enjoyed it. People in your group can get sick or bit and you have to decide to try and cure them with medicine, you can put them down, you can exile them from camp. There's lots of nice touches for fans of the zombie genre here, and it's well worth checking out even though it came out to middling reviews. Next up, one of the main reasons I'm sure lots of people have a Game Pass subscription right now, and that is Palworld. It's the game that's being called Pokemon with guns, and it can be played solo or with friends. It's a survival game that is mixed with monster collecting, and it's all very tongue-in-cheek, firing your pals, your Pokemon, out of rockets, butchering them for meat, or forcing them to work in factories. It's very much a, hey, what if Pokemon was real and really edgy kind of vibe. The game is in early access and it still feels very rough in spots. It feels a lot like the kind of games that came out 10 years ago during the big wave of survival games following the success of Daisy and Ark, but there is fun to be had here, especially if you're playing with friends. That doesn't really change the fact that it's basically an Ark ripoff with Pokemon, but that doesn't mean you can't enjoy it for now and enjoy the ride while it lasts. And next up is one of my favorite games of all time. It is Spiritfarer. It is one of the most emotional games I have ever played. You take over as the ferryman for spirits to the great beyond, the other side in the afterlife. Part of this game is crafting, cooking, building, maintaining your boat, sure, but really this game is about the heartfelt dialogue, the journey, and the characters that you meet along the way. Saying goodbye to them will absolutely destroy you and heal you in ways that you never thought possible. It is the top pick and the best game in the world when it comes to dealing with grief and loss. And even if you're not dealing with that stuff, it is a must play. And if you have a partner or a friend, they can play as the cat in co-op, so at least you won't be crying alone. If after all of that you're still not satisfied and need more picks, do go over to my Instagram or my TikTok, same name as here at MadMorph, where I have full playlists that recommend all the best games for long distance partners and friends to play together, including a ton that aren't on Game Pass. I'm sure we can find you something to play. Whatever you pick to play, have a wonderful time, be kind to each other whilst you're doing so, have fun, and I'll see you next time.